everyone. A very warm welcome and a very good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us for this exciting discussion on the topic of creating a winning employee experience for a hybrid world of work, which is very meticulously curated by Economic Times HR World and Advantage Club. My name is Soumya, and I'm going to be your host for today's session. Today, we have come together with a very powerful panel to know how various power tools like employee perks, rewards, and recognition, digital engagements are being used to create a powerful and sustainable employee experience. There has been an underlying need to create a winning employee experience roadmap for the future of people and work. So without any further ado, I am super elated to welcome the dynamic panel of speakers for this intriguing and a super promising session. Welcoming first Harjeet Khanduja. Harjeet is an author, poet, visionary, HR leader, inventor, and influencer. He has set multiple greenfield projects and has handled HR for large multinational organizations in various geographies, including India, US, and Canada. Harjeet's experience spans in a range of industry sectors and has worked with business houses like Tata, Reliance, and Piramal. Welcome, Harjeet.
Right.
Moving on to the next speaker in line, Rajesh Kumar Singh. Rajesh has diversified experience across sectors in setting up of HR processes, re-engineering them, and leading complex assignments. He has led teams in the entire gamut of HR and has designed and executed interventions to develop organization resilience, capability aligned with existing and emerging trends. I'm very excited to have you with us, Rajesh. And now the third in line is Shiv Rawat. Shiv has 22 years of diverse and rich work experience in the logistics, courier, and cargo industries. His responsibilities cover the entire HRD and personnel verticals, industrial relations, strategies, policies, and structure, and yes, administration, including the interaction at national level. Thank you so much for joining us, Shiv.
Thank you so much.
Fourth in line, and adding the diversity to this multi-lit panel is Smriti Bhadyora. Smriti wears various hats, focusing on business development, marketing, hiring, content, and customer relations. She is a people person and loves making new connections, an ardent believer of the fact that real business associations are a combination of business synergy plus friendships. So Smriti, totally with you on this, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Soumya.
Good. And yes, last but definitely not the least, Dr. Vishwanath, or who's also fondly called Vish, is a seasoned leader who's working towards building a competent and committed HR team, along with collaborating with key business leaders and managers to achieve a dream hexaware goal. These are the key success measures of his role. So thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Vishwa.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And yes, everyone, I know this sounds really intuitive. So why not let's just get started with it. Before I kind of go ahead with my panel and the set of questions that have been really on my mind all this while, would request you all to kind of park your questions for the end of the session. We have budgeted time in it and would surely try and find answers for all of them. So yes, and now straight away jumping into the discussion, like I said, COVID-19 pandemic has certainly been a challenging time. It has all provided kind of a once in a lifetime opportunity for HR leaders as well. Many companies are resetting their business strategies, capitalizing on a unique opportunity to reset their post-pandemic employee engagement strategy and approach. This sounds very interesting to me, and I am all set with the first question for my panel. And yes, everyone, please feel free to add one point each for this one. I'm going to start this with Harjeet, you. Are you doing your best to create an employee experience for your workforce? And I would love to know the creativity index that goes into it.
Let me tell you a story from my earlier organization. So there was a problem going on with the employee experience. And I was with my operation head and we were discussing how to solve that problem. And my managing director passed by. So he looked at both of us and he asked, "What are you guys doing here?" We said, "Employees have a problem. We are trying to solve a problem." She said, "Why are you trying to solve a problem?" And I was like, "I'm the HR head. So who else will solve it?" He said, "That is what I'm saying. If employees have a problem, then why are you not sitting with employees and solving it with them?" This is one of the basic components. If someone has a problem, you have to solve it with that person. That creates experience. And that is one thing which I learned from my managing director. His name was also Vish Shivaswamy. So, and I have kept that learning with me, and it has helped me in creating experiences after that, like in all walks of life.
Ajit, thank you so much. And thank you for sharing that wisdom with us as well. I'm going to come next to Shiv, you.
Sure, yes, Rama, and I must appreciate Harjeet to sharing a story about his previous organization that has actually linked myself into the practices which we are actually following on employee experience, right? So yes, COVID period was extremely challenging for everyone, but I would say that thank God to us as a team that we have already created some of the practices like HR Aapke Dwar. When I say HR Aapke Dwar, it is a practice, cannot be narrated it immediately, but I can give a very short brief of that. When it is a practice called HR Aapke Dar, wherein a manager or team leader or a top leader go and visit people at a ground, hear them out, and solve their query there itself, right? And 80% queries get solved there itself, only 20% query left out. For that 20%, a leader, whoever is visiting the premises, give a time, okay, within 3 days, I'll be able to complete this query and I'll come back to you. And then we follow that practice. This was when we were not in the COVID period. When COVID came in, we were completely blank what to do, how to reach. And we being in a logistics player and we wanted to be in the field, what are the action we need to take? So we initiated a query, initiative called Call to Care, where we reached each and every individual in the beginning of the COVID when the lockdown started. And we spoke to around 10,500 employees directly just to understand whether, because everybody knows that time a rumor was there that the lockdown will be 3 months, there will be no grocery and other things were available. And we were knowing that people will get, tensed about that. So we started that call. We spoke to each and every person. We said, do you need money? Do you need some support? We all are there. Take care of yourself. We never asked that you come to the office. So that was the initiative we did. And we tried to give a better employer and employee, both experience to them.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Shiv. And it just did take me back to my school years when we had a concept called, your teacher used to visit your home just to see how you're doing, how you're faring. And we never thought that this could be used in a much more professional setup. But thank you for sharing that practice. I think that's really, really commendable. Dr. Vishwa, I'm coming to you for your take on this.
Thank you, Soumya. Let me first begin by answering your question. Am I doing my best? I am doing my best. However, I also realize every day that best is not enough. It needs to get better. So many things are changing in the environment, internal and external. And I always compare this with business, like customers are demanding more and more, employees are also demanding more and more. And while we do our best to make sure that our customers are happy, the same spirit of service is now expected even within the organization. And therefore, I have a few functions with me directly as the chief people officer, but there are some functions which are not with me directly. But I have told myself, well, I don't care, because everything that happens in the organization is about employee experience. So be it training, be it recruitment, resource management, everything that impacts employees on a day-to-day basis is about employee experience. And I remember when I took over this role about 2 years back at Hexaware, and first time I met my boss after joining, and I said, what do you expect from me as a chief people officer? And he said two things, Vish. One, ensure that employee voice is always brought to the table. So for me, a very, very important aspect that I spend 70% of my time, I have a 100-member team across the globe, and 70% of my time is about employee voice and making sure that every time there is an opportunity to make quality decisions, I represent the employee voice. And second is when he said, ensure that whatever business decisions we make, good times or bad times, uh, culture is never compromised. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, culture is a accumulation of employee experiences. So if you ask me, am I doing my best? I am doing my best, but I recognize I need to do even better.
Dr. Vishwa, thank you so much. I think that is one of the honesties that I always appreciate. And it takes a lot of guts to say that I'm doing my best, but maybe that's not enough. And I am on my journey or my roadmap to becoming even better from here. So thank you for sharing that. Smriti, I'm coming to you for this one now.
I'm basically the founder of a startup. So we're like a smaller setup, 100 odd people spread across around about 5-6 cities across India, although we serve worldwide today. So I have a very different take to this because the panelists here are like people in large organizations. They're used to dealing with very large workforces. So first I'll talk about what we did for like our employees overall. When are we doing our best? I definitely wouldn't say that. There's always a scope of improvement, and we always keep on thinking of from like a fast-paced and in a setup in which you have like a high growth pressure. How do you constantly maintain a balance of culture as well as performance? So that's something which we genuinely focus on. Our objective is to kind of engage employees by not having them burn out at the same time. But also, it's also in a startup, it's important to align people to the goals of the company, because a lot of times people don't understand why things are being done in a certain way. So so those are like places where we focus on to ensure that employees are overall aligned to the business objectives of the organization. Being an employee engagement provider ourselves, we take like all of the small things which we get from the industry, implement it internally, whether it's like an internal recognition program. We do it for our employees too. And not a lot of companies of like 100 odd employees today do that. Whether, we celebrate all festivals regardless of whatever it is. We celebrate birthdays, anniversaries. We do different sorts of innovative gifts for employees on that time. So from our end, we try to maintain as much of culture as we can. From like our employees, or I'd say from like our customers perspective, that also is something which becomes like not just a learning point for us, but it also helps us create a strategy to overall drive engagement for our clients too. So when you're dealing with like 300-400 organizations, you get learnings from each one of them. While you implement it internally, we create different sorts of plans. We keep sharing those plans with our clients on a day-to-day basis. That like for example, when COVID came in, we honestly, like almost all of the startups didn't know what to do. So we realized that, there was a genuine requirement for general wellness at that point. So being like, basically wellness was not something which was the heart of our program. But at that point, I think in 2020, for the first 3-4 months, we created a lot of products around wellness. We were actually the, one of the first people in the industry to create like a symptom detector, which was not even available by the government of India at that point. So such small initiatives were created to drive engagement among employees as well. We added online doctor consultation on the portal. We partnered with all of these different platforms out there. So wellness is something which we kind of became important about. Pre-COVID, I'd say shopping was like more popular, but post-COVID, our focus moved more towards general, mental, financial wellness as well. We're going to talk a little bit about that during the session too.
Absolutely. Smriti, thank you so much. And very two important points that you raised was a burnout and a wellness. And I think I will definitely come back to you on this now. But now I'll just go to Rajesh. Rajesh, what will your take be on this?
Yeah, so one of my mentors in the beginning of my career in HR, he said that each interaction matters. So, the holistic experience to employees from, in fact, before they join and after till the alumni, right? Once they leave, also the bonds are there. So I think we have made conscious effort pre-pandemic also. In pandemic, our focus, if I ask one thing on which we have really put focus, our heart and soul was on the overall competency development, and it started right from the leadership level to the trainees also we do, and of course at the higher level, how do you build self-awareness? So standard tool, 360-degree feedback, and then the people have to make development, and whole of performance management itself in KPIT is going to be 360-degree based. That means for individual contributor also, you have to identify 3 or 4 peers who are going to give you feedback. So your self perception should not vary too much with the ecosystem. I mean, that is the foundation, and then you get better. And the same for the technical and functional competency also. You assess yourself, where do you stand, and then it's a calibrated exercise. The beauty of pandemic is, as I say, is that you always look at the opportunities. So the whole learning has become really scalable in the terms of offerings. Our boundaries which we have created, I mean, of course, it has limitations also. The digital has its own limitations because the collaboration or the in-personal interactions are very limited. But at the same time, the scale it has given, because we operate in more than now 20 geographies. It has really helped us a lot. But at the same time, I think the whole industry will learn that the employee experience, we have to do much more in view of the recent few months of the resignations. So it's a learning process, because if the experience is good, people will stay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Rajesh. Thank you so much. And what a good feeling to have that I have representation of one of the most influential, and I think most of you guys or our leaders today are being so honest about it, that there is no self-bragging that, oh, we are fab, we just did a great job. I think that honesty is the essence of this panel. And thank you so much for being so candid, so upright about it. I'm going to take this discussion a little more deeper now. And Smriti, what you mentioned, I'm just coming back to you for that. There has been a lot of talk about this employee engagement, how it needs to kind of scale up, what are the other things. My question to you would be that what drives engagement in these critical times? What would be some key top drivers that you can kind of list it down for all of us would be really great.
Sure. So let me first talk about, engagement itself, what exactly it is. It's a multifold combination of multiple things. I can't just put my finger and say, okay, this is what will drive employee engagement in my organization. So it's kind of a combination of the mental and the emotional connection that employees feel towards their organization. And eventually, you want employees to be willing or even have the ability to contribute to a company's success, because that's what we all do. Collaboratively, we come together and we eventually make the company grow. The objective is also to create a more inclusive workplace and make people feel that they're not just doing a 9 to 6 job, they're actually collectively working towards a higher goal. So we were talking about COVID. So when COVID came up, like the entire country suddenly jumped into a work from home kind of a setup. Forget about coming to work, people were struggling to get basic grocery and kirana, like Shiv mentioned, right? So engagement digitally, became really, really difficult. And while, of course, it's been a year now and we've kind of recovered and we've figured out ways to make that happen. But according to me, like there are 3 main aspects which are covered to drive digital engagement. First is general employee affinity towards work. And the drivers could be multiple things. Like you could have different savings programs, like general savings, tax saving programs. You could have regular recognition, which you are driving within the organization, instead of waiting for like an annual appraisal and then you're kind of, telling people about their feedbacks. And also regular feedback, like Mr. Rajesh also mentioned, that it's really important to take feedback from employees regularly, understand their thought processes, how they actually think about different initiatives taken in the organization, take those learnings and then implement them. So that's like the first, I think, the aspect and the driver to drive it. The second aspect of employee engagement, I feel we should cover, is an overall physical and mental wellness for employees, which is again, mental wellness was like a taboo pre-COVID. Now we've all become very comfortable with the fact that this is something probably one of the most important things we should focus on for employees. So the more physically and mentally fit people are, there's also a direct, I'd say, percentage increase in the productivity for the employees as well. And the third aspect would be around financial wellness. A lot of people during this time faced pay cuts, there were financial issues, there were medical expenses and whatnot. And how we can actually create a strategy to drive a better financial wellness within our organizations, make employees more psychologically safe. That's what financial wellness is. You psychologically feel that you are safe while you are getting salaries and all of those things. So I think these three aspects should be definitely taken care of when you're devising like an employee engagement strategy.
Thank you so much for that, Smriti. And thank you for, kind of shedding that clarity on it, because like I said, there's a lot of noise and very few people kind of really come forward and talk about, yes, this is like a 2+2 and what are the elements to it. Harjeet, I'm coming to you now. Supporting the employees by creating a safe space for concerns around their mental, financial and physical health is an imperative. And like Smriti mentioned, that we really started talking about it in the last 15 months. I would love to hear more from you on that.
So, Soumya, when we talk about, say, mental, financial, and physical health, financial and physical health actually come from mental health. If you start thinking it that way, so that means focus has always been mental health. And why focus has always, like in our society, it is taboo to talk about mental health. If you tell somebody, oh, I have mental health issues, the person sees, isko shock lagana chahiye. So people don't come out and say that I have mental health issue. Like if you're not sleeping, that is a mental health issue. You're not able to sleep. If you're not eating well, it is a mental health issue. And we don't recognize it as mental health issue till the time it becomes a physical health issue. And all these mental health issues, why they are caused? They are caused by Hari Sadhu. You know Hari Sadhu? H for Hitler, A for arrogant, R for rascal. I relate to Hari Sadhu. He is the famous, infamous manager.
Right. Now I do.
Yeah. Look, I relate to him because my name is also Harjeet. So, okay, let's not embarrass myself. So, I was looking at a DDI survey. So, what they say is this year also 57% of people left because of their managers. That means 57% of people actually left because of mental health. They were not able to tolerate that. And what the survey says is part of them did not even take a job after that. That is the height of it. And if you have to solve these things, look, one is if organizations have to solve these things, the basic fundamental is if you can make sure that your employees sleep well, they eat, they walk, they talk, they breathe, and they take breaks. That is the formula for fixing this issue from the core rather than taking care of it afterwards. And it is not a small number. If we go to, say, World Health Organization, they talk about there are 264 million people who are affected by this. We are talking about 26 crores, and economy loses more than $1 trillion dollars on this issue itself. And the solution is, one is you have to train your manager well. If you do that, because they are the face of your organization. And second is, on Netflix, I was watching this show called Good Doctor. What happens is whenever a doctor makes a mistake, because of any reason, people don't make mistakes for, say, intentionally. That is what they believe. And they say whenever somebody makes a mistake, send that person for therapy. It is a mental therapy. That what are the problems? There is some problem in the wiring of your brain. And why you are so stressed? Because people's lives are at stake. In business also, although we don't realize it, it is people's life at stake, people's experience at stake. So this sending for therapy when people make mistakes is a step through which we can actually bring down the issues of the entire industry. That is what I think. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Harjeet. And I think that was beautiful. I really didn't expect that there is one of the layers that really talks about this and how beautifully you've kind of just, in a way, put it together. So thank you for that. Dr. Vishwanath, I am going to come to you. And I want to know that, we've been talking a lot about, like Harjeet mentioned, there are like three pillars to it. There is a mental well-being quotient, there is a physical well-being, and then there is a financial well-being, and they are kind of interlinked. In fact, so happy to question you around this, that Hexaware is one of those unique organizations that has actually practiced and implemented a unified global reward and recognition policy. So, what are the things to look out while you are deploying a global recognition framework? What was this journey like for you?
Okay. So, like many organizations, Soumya, we also, when in less than 48 hours, we had to move 20,000 people to work from home. I remember that conversation. This was late March, and we finished a 2.5 hours team management council meeting on this. And after 2.5 hours, I was out somewhere in the car, so I parked the car at the side. The roads were, of course, empty at that point in time itself. And I finished that 2.5 hours call, and I said, okay, now let me go home because I'm almost on the road. And just when I finished the call, my CEO called me back again, and he said, Vish, we have spoken about all this. This is all business continuity planning, but the most important role and the most important aspect of it is going to be how do we keep our people connected and engaged. And I remember that conversation. That really got me thinking. Honestly, I mean, I didn't have any experience handling this situation at all, and I'm sure none of us did. Uh, so from there on, our thinking started to say, how do we do this? How do we make sure that we stay connected, that we continue to engage and motivate our people? And a major challenge then, which continues to remain today, I'm sure my co-panelists will agree, is how do you really keep people fit in all sense? Because the tiredness sets in. So we explored a variety of technology-based solutions because that was the only way by which we can keep 20,000 people connected. We explored one, in fact, Smriti is on the call. So we worked with her team, uh, took the solution, but as always, ready-made solutions don't fit in. You have to now cut them and suit them to fit your context. So we also did that and started a program called In Awe at the rate of H. H stands for Hexaware, and said the spirit of this program really is to communicate continuously with people to say good work, no matter how big or small, will not go unnoticed. And that started our journey of building this R&R program. I wouldn't say we made any major changes in the policy, but the way we delivered that from an employee experience point of view dramatically changed. And I can tell you, and Smriti has the numbers more than I do, our recognition spend or investment has gone up significantly since then. So one is the technology solution combined with a philosophy and an intent that says even more difficult times require even more focus on recognition and reward. And therefore, in this journey for last 2 years, I have realized that there are four fundamental C's of running any good recognition program at a global level. Okay, one is creativity, no doubt about it, and creative in terms of how do you deliver those experiences. Creative in terms of how do you reward, what do you reward, uh, what you actually give as a reward also has to be creative enough for it to be valuable enough. Second is communication, because uh, with a global organization like Hexaware, that's a very, very practical challenge. How do you get people to even know what is getting rewarded and how it is getting recognized? So the second C for me was communication.
Yeah.
The third C is collaboration, because no one team can do it all. Uh, Therefore, we had to collaborate with a renewed sense of energy with line managers, with leaders at every level. We have location champions who help us reach employees who are in the remotest part of the world working with our clients. So the third C of a good R&R program is communication. And fourth, collaboration. And fourth is consistency. Because again, people can see this through, right? That you're doing a recognition program just because a client is visiting or just a new project is started. So how do we do it in a very consistent manner? And at least I'm very happy with the fact that earlier, while the program was running, uh, it used to take time for you to actually release the rewards and do the celebrations. Today,
Yeah.
we do it in less than 2 weeks of the quarter completing, so that if you don't do it on time, it loses value, right? So that's where technology has helped us, and with technology has been the positive energy in the company, the collaboration, and of course some creativity that we applied. So that's been our journey at Hexaware on R&R in the last 2 years.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Vishwa. I think it has been a very, very impactful journey, and wishing you lots of good wishes as you continue on that. Rajesh, I'm going to come to you now. And there has been a lot of reports and data points that have come forward and kind of have suggested that 4 in 5 employers are kind of looking to develop a financial well-being strategy that is effectively communicated and delivered in the next 2 years. So this is one of those, missions for leaders and the organizations at the moment. I would love to, know more from you on how has KPIT kind of sharpened its focus on creating a stronger financial resilient quotient within its workforce.
So in lighter vein, I say 3S, salary superior, which my friend Harjeet said, and a spouse. Very few people are happy, and I'll not go to spouse, but even our gods struggle with their marital relations when they came in human form. It's all about expectations, the higher the expectations, bigger the disappointments. So coming to the point, when pandemic struck us, one clear focus we had is the risk management for employees. So we already had a very good wellness insurance. We had brought out the top up of 2 million rupees, which was a family floater. So which employees, spouse, children, parents, in-laws, everybody gets. And another thing we brought was the term life of 10 million rupees for employees. Of course, it's some sort of co-payment, because we just wanted to make sure that if something happens, the dependents don't have any, they don't suffer the financial pain too much, emotional pain and other things, it's fine. Other than that, I think 2 years back, before pandemic itself, to our employees, we had removed variable pay for 90% of the people. So, only for senior managers and above, there is a variable pay. So you get what you see in your pay slip. There is no variation. For the key leadership team, we already had the standard industry, the options, and they are also at the face value. So, there is a significant appreciation. All friends in IT, we are lucky that last 1 year, I think all IT companies in the mid tier has become multi-bagger, minimum 5 to 10 times appreciation, including KPIT share price has appreciated close to 9 times in 1 year. So our financial well-being focus, like I said, first was on risk mitigation, and secondly, we made sure that the people, there is no variability. That was before pandemic itself. What we are going to put focus in future is that for the junior segment, we are going to assure certainty of compensation. That means we have a career progression planning in which we say that after 1 year, you move to this, depending upon the performance, you move to this. And if your performance is this and your role is this, then this is the minimum compensation you're going to start with. So when we go to campus, we give them the 5-year vision. That the year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, this is the minimum we are going to start with. And depending upon the performance, the accelerator is built in, which can be as high as 50% more. And that has very significant advantage in our campus program. The earlier also the offer to join ratio was good, but now it has gone already close to 99%. So that's the focus, to align more our offerings with the need of the employees, because the junior people are looking more for certainty of income. And at the senior level, people, of course, are looking for the greater reward. So we have aligned that with the value they deliver. So At senior level, it's more of options and the long-term cash bonus. But at the junior level, I think it's more catered to how we can tell them that this is what it is in store for them, not only in year 1, but in year 5, so they can do also better financial planning.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. Thank you so much for that, Rajesh. I think this has been a very beautiful trait of a mature organization, because earlier there were questions that were asked at these campus interviews that where do you see yourself after 5 years? And now suddenly there is an organization which kind of comes and tells you, you know, this is your journey with us in the next 5 years. So maybe that's how the kind of the tables have turned and the roles have been changed. And the way you've put it together about kind of creating customized experiences, I think that really matters. And Shiv, you've already spoken about it in your first instance. So I'm going to come and kind of hear more from you. Agree to the fact that there has been an upward shift in creating more and more personalized experience for employees, and you know it already. Could you kind of share some examples from DTDC on rewards and recognitions, and how that these two things are coming together? And if I could just say that they are taking a center stage in 2021 and beyond.
Correct. Thank you, Sumya. And first of all, let me thank you, giving me an opportunity to talk and listen from such a great leaders. They are sharing such a nice examples, nice word. And, I am feeling that I am a student here, and I feel that I am a student. So thank you very much, guys. Okay. Let me come back to the question basically. During a COVID period, if you would have seen that, there were a lot of things has happened. And of course, I agree with Harjeet, wherein mental health was a bigger concern for each and everybody. Those who were having a bank balance, they were okay. But the people like, first mile people, those who are not having a bank balance and they used to earn money every month and they used to run their home and groceries, other things, it was really a great challenge for them. When this lockdown process started, a lot of people, and as I said, since we were doing HR Aapke Dwar and other activities, so we were connected with employees, because that was one of our mantra, that we want to connect with each and every last mile guy to the top to bottom level. So if you're not connected, you will not be able to get the job done. So that was in the mind. So people were coming to the office, but some of the people, even maximum people during the first 2 months of the COVID period, went to their native places. They were not there. They were not available. And they were also worried when we spoke to them. They were also worried, sir, hum kya kare? I'm not able to contribute and still you are sending a salary to me. So he said, no issues. This is the time when we need to first, understand that how these things are going to be. But yes, we will come up with some solution for all of you so that everyone can move up from this process. So we started an initiative called Everyone Sell and Everyone Serve. Right. So this initiative is something wherein even my last mile person can speak to the customer, right, and bring a sale for the organization. It is 100 rupees. I'm okay with that. But at least a person feel that I am contributing during this pandemic. I'm not getting a salary just free of cost. Companies, of course, companies caring, but that is not giving that feeling to the individual, right? So we started that activity. We brought a lot of clients with the support of our employee. Second thing, what has happened, so if I'm staying in Mumbai, for example, and then I went to my state, say Uttarakhand, and when I'm at Uttarakhand and I'm in a last mile guy, so what to do? I only know how to process the load and other things, but I am not able to do that. And suddenly there was a crisis at Uttarakhand because the Uttarakhand guy, those who are working, went to their native place. So that branch became empty, right? These guys, they come up, sir, shall I go and visit that branch and start working there? And it was not only for a processing guy, it was for other cross-functional people, because we also run one of the program called Step by Step, wherein we trained our other function people for a particularly the main function, which is my operating model, where we go and do the delivery and processing of the shipment. So they went and they started working in those areas. So these were some of the initiative which we started. And then we started linking it to by giving them a reward that if you are bringing this is for you. If you have brought these are the things. That was one of the initiative which we did. Secondly, what we also did, we went for a, today, if you meet a bigger celebrity, it's something for the people is big sometime, right? Similarly, who are our celebrity in our organization? And for a last mile guy, for an executive level person, for them a celebrity is to meeting a company chairman, to meeting executive director of the company, to meeting the top C level people, right? We arranged an open webinar for the employees and asking them to ask question, any question they want, they can ask. And such webinars went all across the company, wherein people started feeling motivated, right? People started getting engaged and they started feeling, because we feel, yes, financial is important, but before that, mental, as rightly said by her, mental is important. They should feel that boss job is safe and what you are doing is also being accepted by the management. That was another initiative we did. When you talk about the future, we are coming up, because if you see in 1.5 years now, everyone, even I would say that most of the people have utilized their time to go for a learning. And they went for certain course. So learning becomes more important, right? So we are coming up with certain KPIs wherein we want people to learn.
Yeah.
Right? If they learn, they get certain incentive, they get certain digital award, they get certain award for that. Secondly, there are variable pays, there are gross salary, that is fine. If you achieve the target, you get certain variable pay. But what we do, apart from gross salary, apart from variable pay, we are saying that, boss, if you have 5 KPIs, if one of the KPI we see there is an improvement for the organization is needed, we give them an incentive reward on that particular point, not on the entire things. Entire things, they have that slot available, right? So we are planning like that. So I would say that reward and recognition in all terms is going to play a very, very important role for any organization. Right?
Yes. I think I've been nodding my head throughout. Shiv, thank you so much for sharing that. And this is really, really inspirational to know that I'm sure we've all had our own journeys, but when we hear such experiences, it really kind of devours your faith back into things and like hoping for a better tomorrow. So thank you so much for that. I think I'm going to very quickly come to you, Smriti, and I know we are just running out of time, so I'll try and cover the maximum perspective that I can kind of pull it out from here. In a way, Smriti, artificial intelligence has kind of offered, tangible ways to improve employee experience. And this is something which is very, very important because we are on a journey to kind of reimagining the workplace of tomorrow. So if you could just share some touch points that are transforming employee experience as a whole, that would really help our audience.
Yeah. So I have two issues with the word artificial intelligence. Either people take it too loosely or they take it too seriously. So either you think that you have a chat system on a platform, yeah, that's AI. No, that's not AI. Or you start thinking of Terminator. That is also not AI as well. So AI is basically identifying user behaviors, generating learnings from those behaviors, and then automating the responses to the end user. So how can we use AI to improve employee experiences? Like, it can be done in multiple ways. When you think of recognition, think about how we can automate what the end user sees. When a manager is trying to nominate someone or award someone on a digital tool, can the system smartly tag the right manager to the right kind of business unit, to the right kind of employees and team members, to the right kind of reward? Or is it just a replacement of Excel files? So then, why do you need a tool? Then you can just do it on an Excel file. Secondly, when employees are also choosing the reward itself, can we smartly put the right options in front of them? Like, for example, if an employee uses Flipkart a lot, can we recommend Tata Click to them? Can we find behaviors of other users who've used Flipkart, where they have shopped after using Flipkart? And maybe this user might like that too, because they've behaved that way. So this guy will also behave that way. If you are in Starbucks, then you should be reminded to use your reward points there if the option exists, right? So such smart things should be built in using AI as in general. In terms of reporting also, can we enable reporting to smartly talk to other internal tools, right? Instead of just downloading it on an Excel format, can it be integrated with your, say, Power BI or any other tool which you're using internally? Let's talk about feedbacks. Like feedback, when you're taking feedback, can you tag that to a smart AI engine, understanding the responses and then changing the answers of the questions automatically over time, basis the responses which are coming in? So even for things like performance calculations, incentive distributions, like we were discussing earlier, we can identify patterns of how managers are behaving in the company. Like for basic things, some managers favor certain people. Such things can be captured. One of my clients was actually telling me last week that can we use AI to create a digital onboarding experience for new hires? He's like, we can use Oculus, we can create a virtual classroom for orientations. I was blown away. I was like, this is next level stuff you're talking about. But the idea is that wherever you're implementing a digital journey, there should definitely be an AI aspect on it, because one size does not fit all. So that would be like my take on it.
That is true, I think. And that is just an extension to what Dr. Vishwa said, that, it has to be customized. It cannot be like a one size fit approach for all of them. Thank you so much for putting that across. And now I'm going to ask like a one trend each to Dr. Vishwa and Rajesh. Company culture, we've talked about it, how important it is. But honestly, this has taken a 360-degree turn in this new hybrid world of work, or if I would say a post-COVID world. So how do you see that shaping up in 2022? Because we are almost at the end of 2021. So if you could just take like one trend very quickly, that would be great.
Harjeet wants to go first?
Yeah, please.
Yes, please. Dr. Vishwa, you can take it. No worries.
The way I see it, Soumya, and this is also based on a lot of employee connects that I have, that, what is it that employees expect as a part of their own experience. And when I put all my conversations, formal, semi-formal conversations together, I am able to fathom that there are three things that employees are expecting. One, an inviting workplace. Okay? A workplace which creates that sense of welcome to the employees. Of course, none of this means that you compromise on performance or productivity or compliances or discipline. Yeah, otherwise the organization itself will not exist. There's no question of talking about employee experience. But one is, can you make the organization inviting enough? Yeah. So invitation. Second, can you make your policies and practices inspirational enough that people want to know, as Shiv rightly said, people want to know that they are important. They want to know that they are contributing. They want to know that they are making a difference. So the second aspect of a great culture that I see, which can create great experiences and thereby impact positively the business, is inspiration. So the first is invitation, the second one is inspiration, and third is innovation. Can you give them good work to do? It's as simple as that. Every day when I come in, am I having good work to do? Am I having impactful work to do? Does it add value? Yeah. So if you ask me, the way I would want to work with Hexavarians on shaping this culture is to create an inviting culture, to create an inspirational culture, and to create an innovative culture. That's, in summary, from my experience,
yes,
I would say will be the culture of the future.
Great. Thank you for that, Dr. Usha. Thank you so much. Rajesh, I'm coming to you now.
Yeah, so we started in new KPIT because KPIT went through a complex process of merger, demerger. And this we had started pre-pandemic, and I think in the next couple of years, we'll put our entire focus. There is what we call the foundational values and behaviors for the culture of excellence. Like I said, we have identified 7 behaviors: learn continuously, share knowledge, and so on. And one is that each person say how they are doing, but most importantly, the ecosystem, 3 or 4 colleagues. And if you are manager, then your team members as well as manager gives you a view. So our focus is that how do we bring out the best in everybody? And that one is that making them aware how they're being perceived, and then empowering them. So empowering them through the training, through the reflection points. But it's at the same time, I believe one more trend which is going to positively impact everybody in IT, especially because manufacturing and where the people touch points are more different, is that all of us are reconciled now that the hybrid work culture is here to stay. And depending upon the proportion, but I think 25 to 75% of the workforce is anytime not going to be in the office. So we are also going to be that, and we have taken a decision that any employee, wherever he or she wants to work, we will respect the preference. So while the organization need is important, but if the person doesn't want to come to office, then and there is a requirement, then we'll hire the person rather than mandate some sort of thing that the people have to come.
I think that's great. Thank you for that, Rajesh. And yes, I know, like, I have just 10 minutes at hand. So I'm going to quickly do like a one round robin for everyone. And this is more like a sum up before I kind of jump onto the audience questions. And I'll start with you, Harjeet. How exactly, in your opinion, winning EX is contributing to enhanced business and people performance? I think we have really talked a lot about how we can make it comfortable, how we can make it productive, but happy to hear from you. And we can just take one take each.
So you have seen Irfan Khan in a movie selling sari, like putting a sari on himself and showing it to the customer.
Yeah.
Why does he do that? Means if you go to any of these shops, why do they do that? To create an experience for the customer so that customer can buy the product and
Absolutely.
customer gets engaged. Now, if you have to engage your employees to give same kind of experience to your customers, don't you think it is fair for you to create an experience for them if they have to do that song and dance in front of customers?
Yeah.
So this is not a social service which we are doing for employees. Oh, employees are poor guys. No, employees are not poor guys. This you are doing for your own good, because if you don't do it for employees, you will not be able to translate it into customer experience. Hence, this is very, very important. This is very strategic to the business. That's how you create it. And if you see the digital organizations, the way they are coming up, they are creating this experience by giving more empowerment to their frontline employees so that they can make decisions. They can look at the data, and so empowerment is the key, experience is the key, which is going to build your business further.
Absolutely. And I think that's a very powerful statement of the day, that you're not doing a charity. Your employees don't really need that. And there's much more thought that goes behind it. Shiv, I'm coming to you for your take on this. Very quick one-liner.
Yeah, I understand. And I can see your face because time is running out. Quickly, when we say employee experience, definitely it is going to work and it is working, right? But we as an organization, what we believe in, that before employee, we have created a culture that the employee never feel that they are employee, because we have created a culture where we want and where employees see them as a owner of the company. And when you are a owner of the company, experience automatically comes. That's all.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Shiv. That is really inspirational. Smriti, I'm coming to you now.
Yeah, so I concur with Shiv what he said, about ownership overall. So employee experience is definitely correlational with enhanced performance and thereby increased business for an organization. So I remember one of the Gallup reports stated that it costs the company 6 to 8 months salary of an employee on an average to successfully replace that employee.
Yeah.
So my one key takeaway would be to increase workplace inclusion, overall enhance constant recognition, and encouraging employees to kind of feel part of something bigger and contributing towards the success of the company, and also growing themselves at the same time. So short and sweet.
Thank you so much for that. Rajesh, I'm coming to you. One quick take on it.
Yes. So like I said, our focus is on making the best version of the people. So focus is on learning and growth. So this is what we are going to focus upon.
Absolutely. Spot on. Thank you, Rajesh. Dr. Vishwa?
I think for me, the crucial aspect of it is collaboration with the line managers. I think that's going to be a key success factor, and ensuring that the organizational purpose is always kept at the forefront while we do what we do. I think that is really what is going to help us create a great experience, and also internally align all functions to become service partners rather than just business partners.
to become service partners. I think that has been the best, the way we've kind of summed it up, and very, very concrete takeaways have come out. So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing that. I know I'm going to quickly try and take two questions at least. And my apologies to the audience today that if we have kind of missed it, please feel free to connect with our speakers offline and definitely try and find answers for it. I'm going to ask this question. This has come from SR Ramesh. And speakers, please feel free, anyone can take this one. In that case, if some of the employees wish to work from home, what the industries and what are the possibilities to accept their requests? Please open a discussion with the panel so that they can go through some line on this subject. My God, I think it's a very heartfelt question that has come through. So anybody, please feel free to take a quick take on this one.
So we already kind of mentioned that. Yeah, please.
Okay, Rajesh. I think Shiv, you wanted to add anything, or you're good as well.
No, nothing. I was just saying that it depends on the organization that how they want it to be. If someone wanted to be work from home, it all depends on how organization wanted to go ahead with it. Like in our case, we are saying it is flexible. You can work from home, but kindly be at the base location whenever it is required. That's all.
Absolutely. Great. So Ramesh, that is the take from our panel on this one. There is one question that has also come through, and there are like really verbose questions when I'm kind of seeing this. Harjeet, this is for you actually. It was nice to hear from you that to solve a problem, employees should be a part of this discussion. This reflects the employee centricity that Jio has. And now he's actually asked that during COVID period, Jio played a major role in keeping the industry connected while we all were operating from home. So what are the best practices that are behind such an engaged, motivated and winning team? So I think, Harjeet, I will not only restrict it to Jio for sure. I just want to know one takeaway on that how do you kind of manage it overall? So please feel free to share that.
This question has the answer. It has started with the answer.
Really? Rakesh, I think you heard it for yourself. That is the answer for you. So thank you so much. And everyone, I think it has been absolutely exciting, elated to hear so many things that came today. Thank you so much for sharing this. The reflections, the nuances that came forward today when I say that we are kind of on a road to reimagine and to create an indomitable EX is what we were looking for. So thank you so much, Harjeet, Rajesh, Shiv, Smiti, and Dr. Vishwanath. I think you guys were terrific. Thank you so much for making this session so memorable and full of takeaways. And before I wrap up, a beautiful thought to share. Jackson Brown Jr. had once said, the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. And I think we all kind of go by it. So yes, that is the sense of this panel today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, for being a wonderful audience throughout. I'm going to be really happy to kind of express my gratitude to Advantage Club and Economic Times HR World's team, who have really worked tirelessly to put this discussion. Thank you so much, and have a great evening and weekend ahead. So stay safe, take care, everyone. Thanks a lot.